Following a successful conclusion to the 2023 season, Penrite Grove Racing has unveiled its 2024 season livery today at Penrite Oil headquarters in the outer Melbourne suburb of Dandenong. The driver lineup for the upcoming season is an all-New Zealand affair, with Adelaide winner Matt Payne being joined by the experienced Richie Stanway in his return to full-time racing after a long layoff.
So initially it was the wildcard opportunity with Boost Mobile and Erebus. So beginning of 2021, and then when I started training for that, and then eventually took part in it 2022 after the delay, it just felt right for me to come back to racing.
While you were away from racing, what were you doing in the meantime? You mentioned about getting back into race fitness and all the rest of it. What were you doing during the break?
Yeah, so I didn't actually have too much time off. 2020 really was the only year until I was back into prepping for the wildcard, and obviously we had COVID. So I had some private business that I've been working on over the last few years, and that's just tapered out now, which is good timing to take up this opportunity to come back full time.
So in the time that you've taken off and coming back again, is there any change from when you were here racing last time? Is there any change in your mindset or in how you're going to approach this year, compared with how you did it the first time around?
Yeah, every year in life, you get more experience and you improve as a person or as a driver or whatever you do in your career. So just having more years to gain more experience has just helped me improve in a lot of ways. And also the sport is the category is a lot different now with the new cars and obviously the regulation changes, and most of the drivers that I raced against in my initial run at full-time driving aren't driving anymore. So even my rivals have changed a lot. So it's got a very different feel to it.
For Payne, fresh from his victory on the streets of Adelaide, he takes plenty of confidence into the upcoming season.
Yeah, obviously winning the last round was pretty cool for us as a team and everyone. I think we all put in a lot of hard work towards the end, and we knew our cars were starting to get pretty quick. So it was podium was probably more what I was thinking in the last few rounds, but a win, you'd take it any day. So it's pretty cool.
Do you think with the new Gen 3 cars that you had a couple of the teams that just seemed to be lucky enough or good enough to get it almost instantly, whereas the rest of you, it's taken the time, but now you're all pretty much caught up and it'll be a lot more even this year?
I think you could say that. Obviously there was, a few first-time winners for a while. You had Winterbottom, LeBrock won as well. We won a couple of races. So it was, there's definitely some newer teams coming into the winning circle. But I think overall as a whole, I feel like the racing was probably better. I thought the racing was pretty close. Everyone had some good battles. It's still got the same supercar characteristics, with the tyres, they overheat, you have to sort of save the tyres a lot. So it's, I think the teams are probably more even than they've probably ever been, and I think the chance to have a good result for anyone is probably higher than it's ever been.
After an off-season of extensive and expensive wind tunnel testing, the Mustangs should be more competitive in season 24. But just what has changed and by how much, Payne is yet to find out.
Probably won't say too much about it until we get on the track and there's some results to prove sort of what the changes are going to do and sort of how we're all shaping up for the year.
So in terms of what the engineers are telling you, have they sort of given you any indication of what they're hoping will come out of the modifications? Because they look, to the outsider, they look very minor, but they obviously, make a big difference.
Yeah, these days with the cars, we're tuning to 2 or 3, one or two mils, now, especially with some of the changes you can do. So it's every minor detail is very crucial in our game, especially that the cars are now to a spec. So everyone's got pretty much the same package, so it makes those finer details much more important. So I think they haven't said anything to me. I'm just going to get out there, drive it, and give them my feedback and see if we can improve and make it faster.
Matt and Richie will be in action this Wednesday, February the 7th, at Winton Motor Raceway for the first test day of the season, and the public are welcome to attend. So just what are the team's goals for Wednesday's test session?
I think every time we go to Winton, we find out something, 1 or 2 things that help us on a race weekend. So we'll run through our procedural stuff, make sure everything's right and ready with the car, and hopefully going into Bathurst we eliminate all of the sort of gremlins we have at the test day and we can have a clean weekend.
Yeah, I've never driven a new supercar before, and I probably never even had a new road car, so it'd be cool to turn the ignition on and start it up and drive it, be the first person to drive out on the track in a brand new race car.
While the two Kiwis seem generally in simpatico on most things, the decision to start the year with an extra race at Mount Panorama does provoke some slightly different opinion.
Probably honest opinion is probably not ideal. I think it sort of takes away from the Bathurst 1000 show as a whole. You know, I think that's very special for our category. It's sort of the race everyone wants to win. So I think it sort of downplays that race a little bit. But hey, it's, for me, every time I go back to Bathurst, it's enjoyable because it's one of my favourite tracks on the calendar. So it's always fun to drive. It's a great spectacle for all the fans that want to come. So yeah, I think it's going to be a good weekend. But I think also it sort of takes away a little bit from the big show.
It's nice for me to have recent muscle memory and some recent notes to go off. But yeah, to me, it's not something I'm really too focused on. It would have been nice to start at Newcastle for sure. I think it's always nice to start the year off with a street race, but wherever we race, for me, it's just about trying to beat the other guys, and whatever corners we happen to be going around is not something that's much of a concern for me.
The 2024 Australian Supercar Championship kicks off at Mount Panorama at the Bathurst 500 on February 24th and 25th.